Welcome to a very serious episode of Van Haven TV. Today we address a huge elephant in the room, and that is the T6.1 better than the T6?
Is the T6 better than the T6.1 and vice versa? Well, the reason I brought you to a 5-star hotel, Tom, is not to wine and dine you, dude. It's to actually show everyone just how well both those marks of Transporter sit perfectly here amongst these beautiful trimmed bushes and amazing waterfalls. And the reason is that these things have got to work and they've got to play, but they've also got to hold themselves when you are out with your family on a Sunday, going out for dinner or going out somewhere fancy. You can do that with one of these Transporters. So let's walk over, have a look at them, stanced beautifully in front of the most stunning Dorset mansion.
So we received some comments on last week's video. Thank you to everyone that watched and wrote something, and it gave us the inspiration for this week's video.
It did indeed.
To see which is better, the T6 or the T6.1.
So the T6, in my humble opinion, is one of the most coolest, most versatile vans on the market, and I'm biased because this is analog and I like to feel it drive, and I like to have that sort of slightly heavy kind of feel. I just like it, you know, I just like that kind of like slightly more rugged feeling you get with a T6.
I'm a huge fan of the T6.1. I love everything modern. Less work is the best work. So I'm in this today.
Cool, let's go and take them for a drive. Find a pub.
Today I am driving our 2022 demo van. It's just so much better than the T6. The 6.1's entire purpose is to be a better vehicle than its predecessor. That's for a number of reasons. It's not just for the end user to feel like they've got something new and shiny and different, but it's also better for the environment. These new Euro 6 engines are fantastic. They're all kitted out with AdBlue and all the other technologies that mean that we can still run internal combustion engines without killing polar bears and melting icebergs. From a driving point of view, I find the 6.1 a lot more comfortable, a lot smoother and a lot nicer. Sort of analysing into that a little bit more, the biggest reason is that the steering rack is completely different. So this is an electronic Servotronic steering rack, so it's not mechanical. I know exactly what Ollie will be saying. He'll be saying, oh, you can't feel the road, and oh, you don't get as much feedback come through your hands, etc.
It's just a bit more analog. So I can feel the engine running through the pedals. I can feel the engine through the steering wheel. The steering wheel isn't servo assisted, it's hydraulic. It's got a little bit more weight to it, and it's consistent. So it doesn't get lighter the faster we go with the newer Servotronic steering.
No, don't miss it. I'm so sorry. After a long, hard day's work of sending emails, making phone calls, I don't want to be wrestling my van around the roadways. I just want to sit and relax and delicately feather the steering wheel as to wherever the van needs to go.
Behind the wheel of this 204 DSG short wheelbase T6. This is a lovely van. It's been fully modified by Alistair. So this particular vehicle's had full poly bushes throughout. We're rolling on a set of Raceline GTE alloy wheels, which look really cool. Now there's a couple of really good pointers which I shall point out about the T6 and why over the years it is the van that I just get drawn to. They are just a little bit more luxury. in my opinion, and I know that's a controversial thing to say, but comfort dashboard, beautiful. All the little inserts are all flocked. We have a 2-litre bottle cooler down here, which connects up to the air conditioning system. The climatic control is slightly different. We've got these little sensory things in here to keep the climate exactly where we want it, even though we have the most basic toggle hot and cold doodah. And certain things like we get a glasses holder, which Alistair has still left his glasses in. Alistair, you left your glasses in your van. When you pick up your new one, I shall return them, but I will wear them whilst we're driving. The dashboard cluster, definitely nothing digital going on down here. The MFD display is finished in a really nice sort of like cool white backlit detailing, we'll say, and I really like it. The steering wheel and the control systems and all the little kind of like gadgets which we can run through to go in with the media systems, really clear and concise, and it's not confusing at all. It's really self-explanatory. Adaptive cruise control was available on the T6. This particular vehicle's just got a standard cruise control system, and I know that that's something that Tom's going to bang on about, is how much he loves adaptive cruise control.
I mean, pedals are so 2010. I mean, most people don't even use them. I mean, with adaptive cruise control, it's very rare that you need to use the pedals at all. And if you don't like the fact that your van can almost drive itself, you can turn it off and use the pedals anyway. From a technological standpoint as well, all of the entertainment system is heaps better. The sheer design of it and how the dashboard integrates is ever so slightly angled towards the driver is just beautiful. It looks so much more at one with itself rather than having little segmented sections, one for your standard doubled-in size stereo and another for event, etc. From a design standpoint, it just works better. It's a lot nicer, it's a little bit more minimal and just a bit more modern in general. I like the fact that my phone can connect wirelessly. I don't have to fiddle about with a cable that breaks every 3 months or so that I have to replace. I can just hop in, get to where I want to go in ultimate comfort, and everything just works and integrates as it should in the modern world. Also with the technology, I feel that these vans modify better. I think the interior is more modifiable in that we've got the extra tech, like with the DigiDash, which is amazing. Further enhances that modern look, but also adds to the usability. I can control everything from my steering wheel. I can see my maps, all of my information, and a passenger can fiddle with the center screen without me getting annoyed, which I really like. It certainly saves a few arguments in my household.
One of the really small details that I like, which we don't get in the T6.1, which I think is a real shame, is little things like a leather DSG knob. It's such a small, tiny detail, but it's something that when you jump into a T6.1 after spending 60 grand on the thing, and you put your hand on the gear lever or the DSG lever, and it's all plastic, I feel VW, we all just love leather. So the 204 in the T6 with this gearbox is incredibly punchy. Do experience a little bit of torque steer. This doesn't have the electronic differential system that the T6.1's got. Is that a pro or a con? I don't know. I quite like torque steer. I'm a petrol head. I like to feel the power.
Obviously this van is heavily modified, so I won't go too far down the rabbit hole, but there are really three chief, not complaints, I would say more observations from people who are very used to the T6 and the predecessors like Olly. The first one they like to talk about is the sunglass holder, which is quite blatantly absent in the 6.1. You can actually retrofit them if that really upsets you, but observe the amounts of other places in which I can store my sunglasses. Maybe here, maybe on my head, maybe in the door. So there's plenty of options. And I know that Olly will be talking about his bloody dead pedal.
Another point to note is I have got a dead pedal. bloody love a dead pedal.
Not having feet rested apart from each other is just better, I imagine, for your postural alignment. My wife would probably know more about that than myself. I love the 6.1 and I love modern vehicles, and to me this van is head and shoulders above the T6 in every single aspect. And yes, everyone has their own opinion, and yes, this is mine, but I think VW have done a super job on this van.
The key on the VW T6 is the same key that VW have been producing for a very long time. I do like the T6.1 key more. Is that a really vain thing to be talking about? Like, I prefer the new key to the old key. Tom's here now, looking at his device. Show us your keys. Yeah, look at those. Sexy. Oh, all right. When it comes down to value for money, there is no ifs, buts or maybes, Tom. The T6 offers you just as much value for money as the 6.1. The 6.1, I do appreciate, is state-of-the-art technology with all of its wonderful driver aids and its ability to just waft you from A to B completely effortlessly.
Yeah.
But we build sports vans. We build MTBRs and like mountain bike vans and action vans, and there is a place for a T6, and there always will be. You know, I think that is a genuinely awesome surf bus, and when you go down to the beach, I think the T6 will always pip the T6.1 when it comes down to sandy beach and beer.
I can't possibly disagree with you. The T6 is an awesome van, and you know that I love it as well. It really does boil down to personal opinion. That's what, and your vibe and your style and what matters to you. You know, we know that you love to feel all the driving and you're very drive-centric, and in a van, I'm maybe less so. I just want to float about and be super comfy and listen to music. They're both good. Newer doesn't particularly mean better.
It just means different.
It means different.
And better for a business purchase, obviously.
For business use, yeah.
When it comes down to the exterior styling, I know the 6.1 is still young, and we're all working really hard, guys, to find new and awesome ways to jazz them up and make them different.
And we still love to work on these as well.
Yeah,
I mean, even the older ladies, we've had some T5.1s in the workshops recently.
Oh, I love a T5.1.
We get so excited about any of them, about absolutely any of them.
I just think that's a bit bricky. That's my only beef. Apart from that, I love everything about that van. And you know what? I think we all love pretty much everything about the 6.1 as well.
And you know one thing as well, at a glance, I don't even think they look that different from the outside. Sometimes I have to double look at a picture to see if it is a 6.1 or a T6. If one flies past on the motorway, I'm like, oh.
That's a lie. That's a blatant lie. He's the geekiest man on the planet. He'll tell you exactly, like, oh, that's a T28. 5-speed manual.
But they don't look, it doesn't look horribly different, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't look like that one's super old. It doesn't look old.
Right, so we're going to ask some of the boys what they prefer about the T6 and the T6.1. The first person we're going to go and see is Joshua. T6 or T6.1?
Classical T5.1 for me.
Fair. Right, moving on. T6 and T6.1, pros and cons, which is your favourite? What do you like?
I would say for me, definitely the steering in the 6.1. It's so much lighter. T6 is just a little bit heavier for me.
Fair enough.
Cool.
Okay, cheerio. T6 or T6.1?
6.1, front end, way better looking than the T6.
And anything else?
Definitely the steering as well.
The steering?
Hydraulic power steering's far too heavy on the T6 compared to the electric power steering on the T6.1. Miles better.
Sweet. What do you prefer, T6 or T6.1?
T6.1, because they're always cleaner.
Fair enough.
T6.1, definitely.
Why?
Because it's all changed. It's all new. The chassis is the same, but ultimately the drivetrain's different, the engines are different, the interior layout's completely different. It drives much more like a car than a van. So this is very off the cuff, you know.
There we go. That's what it's all about. There you go. Thank you very much. That's all. Well, guys, thank you once again for watching one of our programs, and I hope we've answered some of the questions that you were wanting answered.
And if you have any more questions, ask them in the comments, and then we can do more videos.
And we will try our hardest to answer them in a thorough and entertaining way.
Thank you so much. See you again.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye. Bye. The T6.1 is just better than T6. Bye, everyone.
That'd be sweet. Is that recorded?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be... Just give you the answers that you're looking for. Excuse me.